She was so important at the end of the first meeting with LSU. 6-0 run Gamecocks for Wiley, and that could be an intentional foul.
Oh, we don't want this.
And quickly things escalate on both sides, both coaching staffs coming out to try to pull their players away. Camila Cardoso being looked at with blood on her lip. Let's see what just happened again. Flau'jae Johnson holds on to Mylasia Fulwiley. And then Flau'jae pushes Watkins. That's when Cardoso comes up and pushes Flau'jae down. Somebody jumped over the scorer's table from the stands. So the officials are at the monitor looking at this again. There's also police escorting a fan out who leapt over the scorer's table onto the court.
There's the fan. Looked like to me, Ashlyn Watkins, as she was going off the court, said something to Flau'jae. Flau'jae made contact with Ashlyn Watkins, and then Cardoso saw Atkins, and then she came in and shoved Flau'jae.
Brooke, what are you seeing?
Hey guys, I'm actually over here with Flau'jae Johnson's mom, and that is her son who jumped over the scorer's table. He was taken away in handcuffs right now, and her mom is asking to find out the report about him. She's having a conversation with Flau'jae right now, asking her to calm down.
So if you're just tuning in, things have escalated here in Greenville. The officials are at the monitor taking a look at this once again. Both coaching staffs, we saw them come out. The first thing you try to do, get your players back, try to break it up. They are allowed to do that. The coaches are allowed to leave the bench area in order to help break up a fight or anything that breaks out.
Yeah, you got to leave that to the coaches to get the separation. Fans do not belong on the floor.
So the officials at the monitor again, taking a look at this. You can see them making notes. There is a lot to look at here.
Yeah, they've got to figure out how they're going to assess, how they're going to give out the penalties.
as a head coach, what are you doing in the huddles right now after something like this happens?
Number one, you're talking to your team about get your emotions in check. If you are South Carolina, you're talking to your team, look, we are in the lead right now, and we don't want to lose the lead by giving up with technical fouls or giving them freebies at the free throw line. If you're Kim Mulkey, you're telling your team, I understand that you are wanting to play hard and you're playing for your player that's not here in last year POA, and in order to do that, we have to take care of business on the floor in playing the game. You're making a run, stay in the moment.
Take a look at this again. It starts right here. Flau'jae Johnson holds on to Mylasia Fulwiley, commits the foul. And then there's a scuffle between Ashlyn Watkins and Flau'jae. Camila Cardoso comes in and shoves Flau'jae to the ground. That's when a fan who Brooke Weisbrod has just told us was Flau'jae Johnson's brother leaps out of the stands onto the court. Keep in mind, if you're a player on the bench, whereas the coaches can help break up a fight, players on the bench cannot. If they were to leave the bench area, they would be ejected. The goal is to keep them over there, keep them safe and away, and keep anything from escalating.
You see all the coaches trying to hold their players back. I think most of the players that were involved were already on the floor.
So they're looking at Camila Cardoso right now too, but we saw something happen to her lip on the play before this all happened.
Well, you kind of saw all of this boiling up. There was a lot of it. Just talked about players were jawing at each other back and forth. I mean, these are two of the top teams in the SEC. They're battling for that top spot.
Look, and after everything that we just saw with player ejections, I'm sure there's some coming because of what we saw shoving, we saw pushing. We still have 2 minutes and 8 seconds left in this ball game.
And it's a 7-point game.
They broke it up as quickly as they could.
The coaches tried to get in there to have separation.
I was watching the LSU bench.
And the staff did the best that they could to try to hold players back. And then on the South Carolina side.
Yeah, look on the left side of your screen at the South Carolina bench. Players cannot leave the bench area. Coaches can in order to help break up a fight.
And see, the officials have a pen and paper there to keep track of everything and what they see happening from both benches.
Here's the start of this.
Yeah, I think Camila Cardoso should be ejected.
She came up and shoved an opponent to the floor.
But you also had Flau'jae Johnson that did the push off as well.
Yes, before that. The officials have been at the monitor. We've seen them with the pen and paper. Now they're conferring with each other, all three.
The ejections would be more costly to LSU because they have a limited bench as it is.
Yes. LSU has stayed huddled up this entire time over on their side of the floor. And no question, this is not what we want to see at the end of a championship game. We want to see good basketball. We want to see competitive women, but we don't want to see it escalate.
Absolutely. Sportsmanship, discipline is what you expect at this time of the season.
We should be getting some information now from Puolani Spurlock-Welsh. If you're just joining us, things have escalated here at the SEC tournament, pushing and shoving. They've been at the monitor for several minutes now reviewing this. We are waiting on the official word from our officiating crew. And rightfully so, it has taken some time because there was a lot to look at. About an 11-minute delay at this point.
And you want to make sure that you get it right.
Yes. A fan also came out of the stands. He was escorted away by police officers.
A few others made an attempt, but a terrific job by the security crew to keep the fans in the stands. You just hate to see this in a championship game, in any game. You know, the other thing the officials have to discern is how many free throws cancel each other out.
Okay, we have an intentional foul on LSU number 4, which stopped the play. We have a DQ fighting penalty on number 10 for South Carolina. We have players from both benches coming onto the court but not participating. All those players will be ejected. So we will finish the game with 5-on-5. Play will resume with the intentional foul to anybody on South Carolina shooting the ball. Then we will go to the DQ for LSU. Anybody shooting those 2 free throws, and the ball will be put in play at the division line for LSU.
Wow. So an intentional foul on Flau'jae Johnson of LSU. South Carolina will get anyone to shoot those 2 free throws. A fighting penalty against Camila Cardoso of South Carolina. So LSU will get to have any player shoot 2 free throws. And both benches leaving the bench, they will be ejected. And Camila Cardoso obviously will be ejected as well.
Well, it looks like Tessa Johnson, Chloe Kitts came onto the court. They didn't get involved.
But it doesn't matter. You can't leave the bench area at all.
Exactly. Velez left the bench for South Carolina. I mean, for LSU.
So
Janae Kent came in.
Yeah, what Hulani Spurlock-Welch just told us is it's just going to be 5 players on 5 players. Everyone else ejected.
Wow.
And so now they're explaining this to both head coaches. Okay, so here is who we have remaining for our teams. For LSU, remaining Flau'jae Johnson, Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith, Michaela Williams, and Anissa Morrow. Everyone else ejected. For South Carolina, remaining in this game, Ashlyn Watkins, Sanaya Fagan, Mylasia Fulwiley, Bree Hall, and Raven Johnson. Everyone else ejected.
So that means no Tahina Paopao, no Camila Cardoso for South Carolina.
I don't think there was a question that Camila was going to be ejected after
Absolutely.
she came up and shoved the LSU player to the floor. Sanaya Fagan never left the bench area for South Carolina. That is why she is allowed to sub in for the Gamecocks.
There's Sanaya Fagan. She will never leaves the bench area.
So that's why she is allowed to come back in this game. Again, the players remaining for LSU, Flau'jae Johnson, Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith, Michaela Williams, and Anissa Morrow. Everyone else ejected. South Carolina will have Ashlyn Watkins, Mylasia Fulwiley, Sanaya Fagan, Bree Hall, and Raven Johnson to finish this game.
Now for LSU, they basically have their 5 starters. And then for South Carolina, all of these players have started at some point in time, and they've had experience all season.
All players ejected from both teams except for South Carolina number 20, Sanaya Fagan. She will replace 10, Camila Cardoso. 0 for South Carolina, Tahina Paopao, also still in the game. South Carolina shoot 2 free throws. LSU will shoot 2 free throws.
Okay, so South Carolina, so we're now learning too, Tahina Paopao for South Carolina will get to stay because she was at the table about to check in. Also important, every player that was just ejected will not be able to play in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
That means that South Carolina will have 1 sub in the first round, and LSU will start the first round with 5 players. pending if if last year Poa is available to play when the NCAA tournament starts.
Shooting two for LSU, number 11,
So these are the two free throws for the fighting penalty against Camila Cardoso. The first ones we saw for South Carolina were the intentional foul by Flau'jae Johnson.